I don't know if you guys have heard, but the housing market's been pretty crazy right now. Have you heard? No one on YouTube or the internet or the news is talking about it, but you're watching this video probably because you're looking to buy in Phoenix, or you're maybe living in Phoenix right now. You just want to know what the heck is going on. And of course, you're coming to a realtor. So we're going to tell you things are amazing. I'm kidding. Listen, if you guys don't know who I am, my name's Javier. I actually have a pretty big real estate channel. This is my channel just for Phoenix-based content. So if you don't trust who I am about, go watch some of my other videos. You're going to see I've never fluffed the numbers, okay? I'm a non-fluffer here. No fluffing here, okay? Today I want to give you some of my thoughts on what's going on with the housing market, and more importantly, my experience and what it's been in Phoenix for the last decade and what I think is for the future. Now, no one can predict the future. And if someone is able to predict the future, please tell me if I end up losing a lot of weight. But what I can tell you is I can give you a perspective of someone not only who has a livelihood in houses, but as someone who firmly believes in the ability to Phoenix to survive this, and what my perspective is. Now, of course, don't let this be your own opinion. Go check out other opinions as well. But here's what I have to say about Phoenix market. So I got into business in 2013. So I was like 19 years old, didn't know what the heck I was doing. And you could buy a house there, I kid you not, for about $100,000 to $120,000 for a really good house. The first house I ever bought was in 2014. It was $85,000. Or 80. Was it 80? 80 or 85? The editor just found it. It's this price. Hopefully I wasn't too far off. And it was a really strange time because I remember things were so cheap, but you know, people like to look back and say, I remember when the house market was so great and things were so cheap. But even at that time, people were always concerned. People were always nervous that another housing market crash is coming, and people were always worried about their values going up. You know, it wasn't like a sure thing. Like people were like, yes, the housing market's amazing. So I slowly, you know, as I became more of a realtor, more selling more houses and whatnot, you know, eventually a solid house would be 200,000, and then for like at least a good 4 or 5 year period, it was like 2 to 250, and it's pretty insane. If you look at the Phoenix housing market values and how they've gone up, they've gone up like 10 to 20% consistently every year. So what we saw was a lot of people get equity rich really fast. So for example, the house I bought for 80 or 85,000, I'm sure the editor already put it up there. I sold like for 120 or 125, like for 2 years. No, $40,000 of equity is just bonkers. It doesn't make sense, but that was just far from it. There's houses in my neighborhood now that people bought 10 years ago for 200, now selling for $800,000. So a lot of people got rich really fast off the equity of their houses. And since the C word came in 2020, things have gotten really rough, and people are concerned, and people keep thinking there is a housing market crash. Even as soon as like April or May of last year, in my channel, I went through an interesting change where I shaved my head off and I was like going off the rails because I was really scared. I didn't know what the future held for real estate, and I was nervous. But of course, it was a state of uncertainty. No one knew what was going to happen. But what quickly happened, specifically here in Phoenix, is by freaking May, June, July, someone just turned the heat up all the way. Not only summer, because remember, Arizona hot summer, that's the joke that we got going on here, but the housing market just turned on fire. Out of nowhere, these cash buyers are coming in. People are offering 20, 30, 40,000. I remember end of the year last year, I was like, oh my gosh, people are offering $20,000 more. That's insane. This will never be able to continue. January, February, people are offering 40 or 60. That's insane. This will never be able to continue. 60, 80,000, you know, it's just, it keeps going up and up and up, and it's insane. What's happening here in Phoenix is probably why you're watching this video. There is a huge migration happening right now from California and other states. There's a lot of people that were making the more income than the average income here in Arizona, and they've been in their states for a long time, and the housing has gotten even more out of hand for them. And it's crazy because, you know, Californians, there's a lot of them that are generational, that have been there, and their families have been there for decades. And because California has become this like, ooh, celebrity Kardashian part, and people from all over the country and world go and live there, they've driven the prices up so high that now the people that have lived there forever can't buy it. And of course, they're migrating. Maybe this is you, then that's why you're watching this video, like I said. So quite frankly, without getting too into the data here, there are more people that want to move here than there are people that want to sell. And these people are coming from different areas. So when they see a price here, say 250, which was the normal price like 3 or 4 years ago, and they say, holy crap, that's so cheap. I'm willing to pay 300 for that. And I'm going to freaking waive my appraisal. And the people that are here are like, what are you doing? That's insane. But then another person from out of state goes, 300, I'll do 310. I got you. Of course, that, in-state people think at this point that there's a housing market crash because there's no way this gets sustained. But the reality is the people moving here have a higher income than the people that are currently here. And on top of that, these people that are paying cash, waiving their appraisals by $40,000, $50,000, have the extra cash to do that. This idea that a housing market crash is coming is usually based on this fact. There is a huge amount of foreclosures coming because of the forbearance, and or people are paying too much for their house and it's not sustainable and they're gonna end up, crashing. Okay. Who's really going to foreclose here, guys? Let's really be serious about this. The forbearance numbers ended up being not that bad. People are able to get back into paying their house. And by the way, if they did get out of forbearance and they can no longer pay that half payment for the house, guess what? There is such a shortage of inventory in Phoenix right now. They can simply put the house on the market and sell it for a profit. Now, typically in Phoenix, we like to have, a 3-month housing supply. So what does this mean is there's, let's say, 12,000 houses for sale, and there's 4,000 sales happened in the last 30 days. This means that there is 3 months of housing supply left, meaning if there was no more new inventory and the same rate of purchase happens, it'll take 3 months. Some months it goes into 1 or 2 and it gets a little hotter, but it's insane. This last year, we started like at 6,000 inventory and 9,000 sales. And people were like, well, this is terrible. Can't get any worse. I kid you not. We've been at 4,000 to 5,000 houses for sale inventory wise for the last few months. And the sales are still 9,000 to 12,000 a freaking month. It hasn't slowed down. And if there is this new wave of foreclosures that happen, because you guys like to think the forbearance and all this stuff, guys, those are going to be bought up right away because, believe it or not, out of the 9,000 to 12,000 buyers that are buying a house right now, there's still a lot more waiting on the sidelines. What's going to happen with the housing market here in Phoenix? Here's what's happening. Quite frankly, locals right now are really struggling because it's been easy to buy in Phoenix. It's been super easy to buy the last 10 years. Guys, you know how many down payment assistance programs I helped in the last decade? So much. There's been so many people that have literally been begged by this freaking loans and the lenders and the realtors to buy a house. We got them closing costs paid. We got down payment assistance programs for them. And it's a complete mindset shift now where it's actually going to hurt to buy. And it hurts a lot because you need to have a lot of extra cash in the bank to give to the seller potentially to buy a house right now. But at its core, what you're feeling right now in the housing market is a mindset shift, a generational shift, if you will. We're going from a group of people who were literally begged to buy a house to now it's very difficult to buy a house. And the people that were begged to buy a house were able to sell their house every 2 or 3 years and make this amazing profit. I know because that was me. Those people are freaking begging for a housing market crash right now because they don't like the way things are. The reality is Phoenix, Arizona, maybe like your city, maybe like other cities, I don't know, the housing market is going to stay expensive. It is not going to be it's going to be much more expensive to own a home in Phoenix. What's going to happen now is people aren't going to be selling their house 3 or 5 years anymore. It's going to be decades. It's going to be a more generational thing where people pass on their houses to their kids and whatnot. So we're going to see a huge shift of how real estate happens in Arizona. To say there's a housing market crash because, that's very similar to 2006, 2007. Guys, those years, there was a lot of fake money going around. No income, no job, no asset verification. They would just try to fluff the numbers and make it work some kind of adjustable rate mortgage, and you would have a nice cheap payment, then it would balloon. All these loans that have been closing the last decade have been fixed rates. All these loans have been freaking underwritten to the T. Like, lenders are so strict with these guys. And if there is somebody who is out there having trouble with their house, there is still such an incredible amount of demand for houses that they can simply put it on the market, cash out, and be okay. So, is the housing market crash going to happen in Phoenix? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Now, of course, there could be a giant meteor that hits Phoenix and completely just crushes everything. And people in the meteor, as they're being squished, are going to be typing on the comment section, Javier, you were wrong. The housing market crash happened. Yeah, there's things that I can't foresee. But for the past year, if you've been begging for a housing market crash to happen, or you've been waiting for the things to dip so you can buy again, it's a harsh truth, guys. I don't know if it's going to happen. You're better off starting to save, starting to get your stuff together, get your credit higher, and put yourself in the position to buy rather than waiting for the external circumstances to put you in a position to buy. So that's my thoughts on the housing markets. Now, like a typical realtor scum, like you guys like to call us, I'm now going to plug my home search app because guess what? That's what I do. And at the end of the day, if you buy with me or not, I'm buying a house this year. And I bought an investment this few months ago. I'm confident about this market. I think there's a mindset change happening and there's a mindset shift that's going to happen. At the end of the day, if you're in a position to buy, explore that option. If you think it's too risky, it's okay to rent. You'll be fine. So, see you guys then.